I think majority of people are really good at picking what people doing wrong and right, and
We're
then
very quick to judge.
yeah, and
Yeah.
when it comes to themselves, they're not really holding that mirror in front of themselves. So once you know what you like and what you dislike, more importantly, then I think it's a lot easier to choose what you actually want from a partner.
Mm.
You define your values. You want a person who have similar values to yourself, not entirely the same, but yeah,
It's true. And also knowing that things will change and that you will adapt and change
yeah,
your, not only you as a person. And when you're, and I suppose that those that are in relationships now are looking for, or maybe those that are looking for more deeper and meaningful connections
hmm
with people, it's building something where you're both going in the direction that you want to, but knowing that things will change. And for me, it was like understanding in that moment when I was dating myself, what do I want for myself now and where do I want to go?
hmm
And then going back to the dating pool and going, okay, well, this is actually where I want to go, and this is my journey now.
hmm
Not so much like come on the journey with me, but what's your journey? Are you also on
exactly,
the journey of growth? And then it's a case of
yeah, yeah,
being there and supportive and lifting
yeah,
each other. That
yeah.
to me, I feel is inherent.
Is how I say, like, two complete people
Yeah,
coming together for a bigger mission
becoming
or
a
a bigger
power
vision.
couple
Yeah,
for sure.
and then I guess that's what I meant on the intro, that nowadays people getting into that relationship just to fill a void,
Mm.
because they say, "Oh, my other half." Now, the way I think is you're full and you meet someone else's who's full, and
Mm.
then you just come together
That's a
and
really nice point.
helping to grow each other. But why do you think? What are the reasons why people getting into relationship in the first place?
Why do I think people get into
Yeah.
relationships in the first place? Depends on the person in terms of what their goals are or what they're looking for.
Mhm.
Like some people might just want to like meet up and fuck. Some people might generally want to have a long-term partner. Some people have their own selfish
Mm.
reasons. Sometimes you meet people that just want validation. It's really dependent on.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's a hard one to answer because everyone's got their preferences. But I would say, from my personal opinion, in terms of looking for something healthy, is I've always now know the understanding and importance of doing the work on the self first
Mhm. Yeah.
and filling the insecurities and filling the trauma, like going
Yeah.
back and understanding why did I choose that partner? Because for me, it was also after my previous partner,
Mhm.
and that to me was a really hard relationship. It was it was pretty toxic. Like it was in a relationship where I left not knowing who I was and questioning myself more, and that's what motivated me. Where I was like, I'm done. I need to know who I am again and where I sit back in before I
Yeah.
can jump straight in. What about you?
So I asked that question because I was doing some research on what your brother Charlie mentioned about anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, and
Yeah,
secure attachment.
yeah,
So so I think it goes into two groups. So insecure attachment, you got anxious and avoidant attachment, and then you got secure attachment. So
mm,
secure attachment would be the one that, when I mentioned that two full people comes in one, and then they start to help each other to grow or be a better version of themselves, really. But then you got anxious and avoidant. So and that comes, which is really interesting, from the way you were growing up. So if you're, say for example, if your parents didn't really pay attention to you that much when you were growing up, they were busy with work, watching telly or something. So you kind of manifest into that avoidant attachment,
mm,
because your parents basically were avoiding you.
mm,
And anxious attachment is the same, where if your parents were really anxious or very controlling when you were growing up, also you kind of cultivate that anxious attachment. So when you get into relationships, you're always anxious, and you got the trust issues, and you always think that your partner is going to cheat on you,
mm,
all of these things. So I think that's where it's really important to, you can get into therapy if you want, just to actually sort these insecurities out, and
Totally agree.
then realize that no, it's not me, it's actually my inner child that's just really anxious or avoidant of what's going to happen in that relationship. And but the funny thing that you're being anxious and avoidant without any evidence. So if there's no evidence that your partner is going to cheat, look into yourself, I say.
Yeah, for sure. It's like looking at yourself, and that was also beautifully said. It's there's this really good book called Attached, and it talks about exactly that. And I think where for those that maybe have gone in and out of relationships and maybe have chosen bad partners, it's not necessarily a reflection of you. It might be a case that you need to go back and work out what it is that what's causing you to look in those directions, or and sometimes it is going back and understanding what you learned from your parents, or maybe it was a past trauma, or maybe it was something that happened to you. It's really kind of, like you say, understanding what those insecurities are that lead to the actions that you take today.
Instead of blaming
the partner. Like, it's so easy to be like, oh, you're going out and cheating, when actually it's like, well, what's causing you to feel that way? Where's that jealousy coming from? Where's that anxious behavior coming from? Maybe it's because you had a dad or mum that wasn't around, or do you know? And I think it's really important that you identify that before going into a relationship, because then you start understanding what you bring to it, and who you want to be in it, and that allows you to have a really healthy relationship going forward once you've kind of filled the insecurities or the holes that absolutely that make up that. Because after that it comes with communication, and I think really
it's so underrated, man.
I think communication is so underrated. Really, if you can communicate exactly how you feel, regardless, with this no sense of judgment.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you can say to your partner how you feel, and you know that they're not going to take it the wrong way or take it personally or take it as a self-criticism, you can just openly say how you feel and go, this is how I feel. I honestly believe the relationship has more chance of making it just because you're so open and honest with one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you can sit down and hold each other in a place of safety and reassurance, and that it's all love, we can have an open conversation about whatever it is. It removes that distrust, or it removes that barrier of, I couldn't begin to say that. I think, like, it's always this, if ever my friends call me and they've said they've got a problem with their partner or girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever it is, and they're like venting to me about it, I'm like, have you spoken to them first before you even initiate the conversation? And if they're like, no, then it's just like, cool, we'll call them. Go speak to them. Because that's how you build the trust. That's how you build a relationship, is being able to go, right, let's put it all on the table here.
Yeah, you just put your egos aside and then sit down and listen. And I think it's very important to listen and then tell what's on your mind, and then together come to a conclusion. And there were so many times when I was arguing with my girl, and then at the end I was like, fuck, I was wrong. I was wrong. And then your ego hurts so much because you actually thought you were in the right. And then, but I guess that's how you build that emotional intelligence as well.
It's this endless need to protect yourself.
Yeah.
But I think if you can go into it knowing, okay, I want to understand more about myself.
Yeah.
And I think when you know yourself truly, you know true yourself and love yourself, and you can openly hear the criticism of where you're going wrong. Let's say, for example, you and I are in a relationship and I've done something wrong that's repetitive, and you're like, Rupert, this is really upsetting me. And if I'm like, no, you're wrong, it's about me being like, okay, this is the problem, this is the solution I need to do. I feel that a lot of guys will tend to try and solve the problem once it's become a problem. They never preempt the problem. And I always use the analogy of a sink. Like, if you notice the tap leaking ever so slightly, you kind of think it's fine, but then all of a sudden it starts over months getting worse and worse and worse before the tap just blows. Then you're like, oh shit, now it's a problem, now I've got to fix it. Had you just done that small adjustment months ago, it wouldn't have become this big problem in the future. And I feel that guys, only once their girlfriend goes off the handle and is like, this has been a persisting problem for months now, they go, oh shit, I need to get my shit together.
Yeah.
It's like, no, make the small
Yeah.
incremental changes in the beginning. Listen, sit down and listen to the, not so much like criticism, but just the what's trying to be said.
Yeah,
Because it's
exactly.
only trying to make you a better person.